Hi, I'm Bobby Dietz, and today I'm doing a book review on Competing Against Luck, the Story of Innovation and Customer Choice by Clayton Christensen. An absolutely wonderful read, thorough for sure. Clayton does an amazing job with his co-authors. Let me read you a few sentences here out of the intro or the foreword. How do leaders know how to grow? How can they create products that they are so sure customers want to buy? And can innovation be more than a game of chance? In this book, he examines what causes growth and how to create it. Couple sentences here I'll add into what to expect in this book from deeper within it. What causes a customer to purchase and use a particular product or service? And then why your customers choose your products and services, or why they choose someone else's instead. Finally, what has to get fired for my product to get hired? These are the kind of things that Clayton discusses in this book. What is so commonly remembered is the milkshake story in this book. Most people who've read it apply the principles from the lesson in the milkshake story. That's right, I'm saying milkshake. It is applicable across every industry, really. I believe there's a military commander that applied the principles. So I'll tell you the story here in my own words, and it's been a minute since I read the book, but I wanted to talk about it because it's such a powerful, powerful story. Basically, Clayton, goes through a research study for a major fast food chain that hires him to figure out how they can boost sales on milkshakes. So his strategy of developing a theory, as he calls it several times in the book, and he gives great detail about the proper way to develop a theory. But what they did was sit in the restaurants, and everybody that bought a milkshake, they took down the notes of what kind of characteristics they had, and they asked them questions when they were done buying it about why they liked it and what they would change about it. And they got a lot of suggestions back, like maybe make the straws thicker or have the chunks thicker or make the cups bigger or lids tighter or what have you. And so they go and make all the changes. And then they launched this big campaign about all the changes that were made for the milkshakes, and nothing changes. And it kind of was an aha moment for him, realizing that all the work that they did was for nothing because they weren't asking the right questions. And they needed to develop a better understanding of why consumers bought their products. And what he does in that is talk about what he defines as the job to be done. And that's really what the book should have been titled, in my opinion, but you can't write job to be done. No one would ever understand what the book was about. Competing Against Luck is the perfect name because you're trying to overcome luck. And what he's asking in these customers is, basically, he goes back to do the study again with everybody, but now he's asking people, what job did you hire this milkshake to do for you? And they found that most people buy in the morning or the evening or on the weekends with their kids. And if they're buying in the morning, every time someone would buy a milkshake, he would stop them as they're leaving and say, hey, what job did you hire this milkshake to do for you? A quick example of what he means by that is, if you are, an example he uses in the book to describe that is, if you are waiting for your train to come and you're going to board a 3-hour train ride, and you go ahead and you buy a Newsweek magazine, you are not necessarily buying Newsweek magazine because you love the magazine. You're buying Newsweek magazine because you want to read it while you're on the train. So the job to be done in that situation, in that example, is to entertain you while you're on the train. And applying that simple explanation of what a job to be done means to his example in the milkshake study was he was asking people, what job did you hire this milkshake to do for you? And he found that the answers for why they bought the milkshake had absolutely nothing to do with the characteristics of the milkshake. More caramel was not why they were choosing to buy that milkshake. This man or woman was buying this milkshake in the morning, for example, because it lasted a long time in his long commute to work. He got to enjoy trying to get the bigger chunks through the straw, and it lasted a long time because it was really cold and kept him a little full because he didn't have to eat breakfast, so he could wait a little longer to eat lunch, and it was kind of a fun treat to have on his commute. Now, and none of those things are going to come from asking someone, well, why would you buy this milkshake? Again, what would we change about the milkshake? Because their reason for purchasing it has absolutely nothing to do with the characteristics of it. And they talked about how they had tried in the past to use protein bars or fruit, but there were specific reasons why those didn't work, because donuts were gone too quick, or the protein bar didn't keep them full long enough, or the banana was too messy with the peel, and the milkshake ended up being the perfect thing for them, so they went to get the milkshake. So now that we've got the reason, and that was one characteristic, and there's other people that came on the weekends and they wanted to buy a milkshake with their kids because it made them feel like good parents and giving their kids a treat without it being overwhelming and having to buy them this expensive thing. The point is, they then took these reasons that people were buying and they set up quick stations so people could come and get a milkshake quickly and leave because they know that they were on their way to work, and increased the sales of the milkshakes dramatically without changing the characteristics of the milkshake. And it's a really important lesson for marketers, because a lot of the time we're using our copy and creative to try to sell to people the product. But the Velcro stretch drawstring elastic special formulated cell phone pocket holding pant has absolutely nothing to do with why someone is buying the pant. And if you can think about what you're advertising as to what the customer, and develop a good theory as to why the customer is buying the product, or as Clayton would put it, what job is the person that buys this pant or this product hiring this product to do for them? What is the job to be done? And if you can figure that answer out, and he goes in very great detail about what questions to ask and when to ask them and how to get to the root of the idea of why people are buying. And you've got to have a whole bunch of people that you ask. It can't be one. And it's just great examples of how to figure out this information. And I think every company should be doing it for all of their products, or at least each product line, or certainly at least once for their brand. A great example, the book goes on and on about applicable ways to ask what the job to be done is. Another example is a guy who buys a bed for his family. His back was hurting, and it had been hurting, and the guy said, and there's this whole word for word, they almost transcribe, they pretty much do transcribe the interview of this person who bought the bed, trying to figure out why he waited so long to buy his bed. And they came down to the fact that he wasn't hiring the new mattress, hiring it for the job to be done, but he wasn't necessarily hiring the new mattress as much as he was desperate to fire the old one. And in a desperate ease of decision-making move at Costco, he bought the bed. But it's made clear that something was driving him, and it was not an impulse. It had nothing to do with the details of the mattress itself. They don't talk anything about springs and anything to do with the mattress. There's underlying details about why people are buying, and the book is all about how to get to those underlying details. A question you might ask yourself as you're going into marketing is right here on the same page, is what gets in the way of someone choosing to make the decision to hire something to solve their problem? What gets in the way? And if you can manage to understand that and speak to that particular specific thought, you've got sales coming through. We've managed to do this a few times successfully with clients, and it's always so rewarding because you don't expect the advertising angle to work out as well as it will, or at least, clients typically don't think so. And it's really not the easiest thing to get done perfectly, but man, when you do, the results are clear because the way you're advertising to people is so much different, speaking to their inherent desire and need, the job to be done. Yes, I am going to hire this product right now to do this job for me. So I recommend Competing Against Luck by Clayton Christensen, a absolutely spectacular book. If you haven't got a copy and you're in marketing or you're not in marketing and you're trying to figure out a better way to operate your business or communicate with people or customers, this is a must-own, must-read. Go out and pick it up.
My name's Bobby Dietz. Thanks for watching this video. Hopefully some of these tips are helpful. Make sure you follow, subscribe, like, all that kind of stuff. We're putting out videos here every week.